Hello and welcome. You're watching News Central Television. I am Judith at TV. It's time for News Central now, and here are the top stories of this hour. Protest erupts in Otukpo, Benue State over incessant killings and kidnappings by suspected cattle herders. Senator Natasha defies a ban on rallies, lands in Kogi Central to hearings welcomed by thousands of constituents for the Salah. South Africa's coalition government of national unity facing imminent collapse as ANC issues threat amid budget talks. And we'll begin with news from Kogi State, where the senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha has returned to her hometown Inoke local government area of Kogi State to a massive crowd of supporters despite a curfew and ban on political rallies imposed by the state government. She accused Senate President Godswill Akpabio of orchestrating her suspension to silence her and vowed to resist any plans to recall her from the National Assembly. Akpabio arrived in Kogi aboard a helicopter and was welcomed by thousands of supporters at Ihima. Her return comes weeks after the Senate suspended her following a petition she filed alleging harassment by the Senate President. A day before her arrival, the Kogi State government had placed a ban on political gatherings and declared a curfew in her local government. Despite this, residents defied the restrictions to show support for the embattled senator. Let's look closely at Senator Akpabio's choice of words, which seems to have been selected carefully. So I'm going to quote it here. "Nobody and nothing can stop me from coming home. I am an Ibira woman. This is my land. I am the daughter of the late Jimo Abdul Apoti. I know my roots. I am not a bastard, and I am not afraid of anyone, of anybody," end quote. Plus, she said, quote, "I am not a lawbreaker. I appreciate the governor's orders. We came by helicopter and not by road. No convoy. We are in our home and not in the streets. So we didn't break the law," end quote. And to that effect, earlier, our News Central's correspondent, Sagir Ibrahim, was at the country home of Senator Akpabio, where from there he gave us this update. Take a look.
Country home of Senator Natasha Akpabio. As you can see right behind me, individuals are here currently gathered at the entrance, hoping that they will be granted access into the main building just to have another glimpse of their senator. Earlier in the day, she had briefed a very large crowd of individuals who had defied the odds that were set by the state government banning public gathering within the state to come out here to show solidarity, to show love, and of course to show support for the senator who unfortunately on the 6th of March was suspended from the Senate due to what the Senate had deemed unruly conduct and unruly behavior. The issue currently is during the briefing that she had, or rather during her address to her constituents and her supporters, she called on them not to accept the suspension, as it were, as she deemed it an injury to one being injury to all. She has, however, mentioned that despite the suspension, it doesn't stop her from carrying out her regular functions of supporting her people. She is expected to, of course, commission some projects and also commence the construction of others within, of course, her constituency, pending when the issue surrounding her suspension or her recall, as the case may be. Well, as a matter of fact, there's quite a number of policemen that are attached. In fact, just right now behind my cameraman, there are two policemen who are fully kitted and, of course, waiting, to avert any kind of breakdown of law and order that might ensue or that might come up as a result, of the multitude of crowds, that are currently here. As you can see, my cameraman is trying to pan, for you to get a better glimpse of the security presence that's here. Quite a number of policemen, as a matter of fact, are here present, and in fact at the gate there are much more at the gate, just waiting and hoping that all issues regarding insecurity, all issues regarding the breakdown of law and order is, of course, properly addressed.
Now, still on matters of Nigeria's democracy, the suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, the state legislature, and the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State has remained a front-burner topic in conversations across Nigeria's political landscape. Several groups, including the Nigeria Bar Association and other leading civil society organizations, have described the move as illegal. publisher of Ovation magazine and stalwart of the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, Dele Momodu, is the latest voice to speak up against the president's action. Momodu says the president's action could be killing democracy in Nigeria. Now, he warned that the country is currently descending into dictatorship under President Tinubu. And now joining us for more on this, two important guests. My first is Peter Ame. He's the secretary of the Coalition of Political Parties, as well as Sonny Atamuno, who is a public affairs analyst based in Rivers State. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Mr. Ame, let me just start with you. The president has been accused of attempting to intimidate governors and opposition leaders to get their support for his re-election bid in 2027. Do you also see it this way?
For me, that's the only thing, the only interest the president has in this way. He has been a part of the problem. He has been part of the issue from the beginning. He's an interested party in this whole issue. Because if you look at his press statement that he read during the day, it suspended the democratically elected governor, executive governor of Rivers State and the legislature. It was clearly to show the intent and purpose for which his interests were to pursue the agenda for 2027. And this agenda, even if you look at Section 305, is antithetical to the deepening and growth of democratic practice in our country. And if anybody says that this is to kill democracy, I think I align myself with the person. Because you can't have a situation. Democracy is something that comes with freedom, that comes with the level of people making their own decision and choice. And if you have a situation where it becomes a quasi-military arrangement where people now use their military style decree process to remove somebody who has been elected for a particular period of time, then you know that people will now start to develop fear. People will start to lose trust in their democratic progress. People's participation will be low, which will lead to voter apathy. Because what is the essence of voting for somebody and then another elected person has a superior authority to overturn that decision without consulting the electorate, without following the due process as established a shrine in the Constitution, whether impeachment, death, or resignation. So it is clear from day one that when you look at the map for winning election in Nigeria, you look at Rivers State, you look at Lagos, you look at Kano, you can see the level of interest that has been poured to this state. Is to show that at all costs, this state must be on our side, and for those reasons, those who are holding sway, who are not playing to our game, must be punished. And that undermines the principle and the letter and the spirit of the Constitution, that allows us to have a multi-party democratic system where people must, participate in a political party that protect their rights and give them the free wisdom and free choice, to participate in politics.
I have to ask, are you worried that the declaration of a state of emergency and the suspension may not, in fact, solve the crisis in Rivers State?
No, I'm very worried. As of today, you can look at what is happening with the kind of charade, the kind of orchestrated drama that is being put on us from the national head, or from the head of service to suspension of warning traditional rulers not to participate in politics. You could see that it's a one-sided process. And because it's one-sided, and everybody is going, the chief of staff was on TV explaining how he was giving 5 billion naira. So this is not the way to solve the issue. If the government had wanted, because there are two parties involved, there's PDP at the state and the APC at the central. There's no way you will tell me that the APC have the interest to be able to stabilize this issue. If they had the interest, what they would have done was to bring the National Peace Committee, headed by former head of state, Salami Abubakar, with Bishop Kuka, and other very renowned leaders, which I was a member at the time, to bring them into the fold of discussion and bring the parties to a table where they will have dialogue. And if dialogue does not solve the issue, they'll wait for the election of 2027. Because there's an established process to either recall, to either show your strength in a democratic process, and that is through the voice of the people, where they go through the ballot and then elect the leaders of their choice. This will further deepen the division within the state, because people are hungry, people are not happy. Yes, they do not have the authority to be able to also deploy soldiers.
Right.
Because if you talk of state of emergency, it is not supposed to do with suspension of democratic institutions, but to be able to strengthen the institution of security, to forestall whatever crisis that will come up in the states.
I'm glad you're talking about the pillars of democracy especially in the state? Because it takes me to my next question. I'm coming to you, Mr. Tamino, for this. The PDP has accused the sole administrator, the Vice Admiral Ibas, of dismantling democratic structures that was put in place by Imarayi following the political appointees' suspensions as well. And also another, I think CSO also called that the Admiral also declares his assets because that he runs a risk of enriching himself. What would you consider to be the best way to manage all stakeholders to address this crisis once and for all, given the suspension of politically appointed members of the government?
First of all, I believe the suspension is illegal, and you cannot put nothing on something and expect it to stand. And then people were asking him to declare his asset. yes, he has put himself in the arena of the discussion.
Mr. Ahmed, just hang on a second. That question was for Mr. Sonny, Mr. Sonny Atamuno. Forgive me. I was asking about the suspension. We understand that the Vice Admiral also paused all political appointees that was appointed by the Imarayi Fubara. So how best can this be managed when all stakeholders are involved?
Okay, thank you very much. I think, first of all, the sole administrator is working on a script that was written for him, obviously, because you cannot just dismantle these agents. He started by dismantling every political appointee, which is fine. But most of those agencies that are supposed to run River State on a daily basis, most of these, the schools, the higher institutions, their governing councils, he had to bring all of them down. And the funny thing is, he's not even doing anything to broker peace among the warring factions. It seems his mission is not even to broker peace, which they made us feel he was coming to do. So he's not even doing any of that. Rather, he's just suspending, bringing down systems that the governor has already put in place. So you can see that the man is not really here to broker peace among the warring factions at all, to me, because he has not even worked with relevant stakeholders, the kings. He only called them, told them to maintain peace and order, which in fact, when he came, the first comment he made was that no protest, nothing at all. So he's not even working with the traditional institution. I was feeling he was going to work with them to call on the assembly members, call on the governor, call on every other party, and see how they can amicably resolve whatever political crisis that is ongoing. But up till now, he has not done any.
All right. We seem to be having issues with Mr. Sani's audio. We'll try to fix it. We seem to be having network connectivity issues there. But let me come to you, Mr. Ahmed. Apart from the appointment of the sole administrator, what other real efforts can be taken that should take place to resolve the crisis?
There's a constitutional arrangement. If you have Section 188, if you look at Section 308, where the governor is immune from criminal and civil proceedings, and if you look at Section 305, where the president used to remove the elected officials in the state, these are clear processes that are there. Even for the National Assembly, when the State Assembly were in crisis, the National Assembly is a provision in Section 11, Section 4 and 5, where the National Assembly can take the duties of the State Assembly and continue to make laws for the state. But that does not affect the authority of the state executive to remain in place. So our position is very clear. If the person is elected for a 4-year term, and if that time comes, you roll out to election. It is because of this undercourt and interested parties playing behind the scene, trying to show as if they are interested in resolving the issue. But clearly, what they are trying to do is to undermine the democratic institution of the state, to establish their own strength, and to look for a way to extend beyond 6 months. So they are not willing to resolve the issue. Because if they were willing to resolve the issue, there was no need for a sole administrator that is not known to our law in the first place. That has even worsened the situation on ground. There's no need, because he is now appointing chief of staff who is a retired military person too. And I do not see the reason why we have to make politics enticing for retired military officers, which is going to further jeopardize and put democracy in danger. So I think the decision of the president is illegal, is undemocratic, and is antithetical to our democratic principles of developing a society where Nigerian citizens will participate in a democratic exercise and freely elect those who represent them. So if we want to solve this problem in the recess, the sole administrator, first of all, we have to leave that place and come back and allow the institutions that the people have put in place to operate within the ambit of the law. And that we think that the Supreme Court, the governors, some governors have put this matter before them because they could also be affected. And if you put fear in the minds of those who are across the state that are not belonging to APC government, it will further jeopardize our ability to strengthen democracy. So the Supreme Court must quickly attend to the request by governors to look at the authority that the president has quoted, whether they have the right to take such decision, and then make sure that we save this democracy from collapsing. This Fourth Republic is very dear to us, and it's important for us to save it in a best possible way, because the president is acting only in the direction of his own interest and not the interest of the River State people.
I wish there was more time for us to go in depth. I must say thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Peter Ame, as well as Mr. Sonny Atamuno, for joining us and giving us a bit of insight on this situation in Rivers State and all that's going on in the Nigerian democratic scene. Once again, thank you so much. Let's go on our very first short break, shall we? When we return, it's April 1st today, and we'll see how some people have played the fast one on friends and families. After the break, stay with us. And you're welcome back. Angry residents of Otukpo in Benue State on Tuesday took to the streets to protest the escalating violence in the area, including a surge in killings and kidnappings. The demonstrators blocked key roads, demanding immediate action from the government and security agencies to tackle the growing insecurity that has plagued the community. The protests come after a series of deadly attacks that have left the community in shock and fear. The demonstrators who blocked major roads in the town are calling for urgent intervention from both the government and security agencies. Many residents have been forced to flee their homes, while those who remain live in constant fear for their safety. As the protests continue, the call for immediate action to address the rising insecurity in the region grows louder. And now to some stories of celebration. It is the second day of the Eid Mubarak celebrations in Lagos, when Muslims across the state gather to mark this significant Islamic festival. However, this year's festivities come amid rising economic challenges, leaving many residents to adjust their celebrations. News Central's correspondent Bettina Nweli reports from various fun spots in Lagos. Take a look.
Eid Mubarak, a time for prayers, charity and communal feasting, is usually marked by families coming together to share in the joy of the season. But this year, many Lagosians say the soaring cost of food, livestock and other essentials has made it difficult to celebrate as they usually would.
Last year, we still see small change and small food gather and chop. We chop very well that last year, but this year it was to food no day. Even yesterday, me and my guys, we just day alone, no chop, no do anything. We guys go outside, go beg for food before we go chop. I beg, make me help us adjust all these things. We dey suffer for this Nigeria, they suffer too much. Food no day, anything no day, work sef no day. You no see work. We still dey beg, say one work. We still dey go beg them.
The economy too still affects. A lot of people are complaining and things is changing too. I pray things change to a normal set, to the people test. So me, I can't say everything is good for me because my family knows how things is for me here. I pray everything will be okay.
While Islamic clerics have emphasized the importance of faith, patience and unity in difficult times, urging Nigerians to remain hopeful for economic recovery, families celebrating at home have had to cut back, and some residents say they have had to rely on salaries or seek alternative ways to make the best of the season.
We go to mosque from mosque to mosque. They give us chow. They chow in the thing no be small thing. We chow rice, fried chicken, fried ram meat, and I enjoyed it. Some places they used to ask us, "Did you fast?" I say, "Yes, I fast."
But you fast?
Yeah, I do fast, but not every time I used to fast. Yeah, I fasted, but it was not all through the months I fasted.
It's going well, though, because it comes at salary, so let me say it's easy for us, but we should just manage our money, like we shouldn't spend more. So
as Nigerians continue to grapple with economic challenges, many remain resilient, finding ways to celebrate within their means. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
And off to Abia State, where Muslim faithfuls in the capital Umuahia on Tuesday resumed food trading amid the national public holiday. Those who spoke to News Central's TV's Chinwe Ugeli say they participated in the Eid on Sunday and had lots of fun on that day. Here's a report.
On Sunday, Muslim faithful in Abia State came out in their numbers to the prayer ground to offer prayers for a successful end of the Ramadan fast.
This Ramadan, now pray, but this prayer is so far me very well. Now this to make me happy. Ramadan is fasting.
Although the federal government earlier declared Monday and Tuesday a national public holiday to allow Muslims and other citizens observe the Islamic festivity, most faithful were back at their various places of business, trying to recoup the resources in the Salah.
Most of them, we don't visit them. We just go spend the one that we had in our pocket. So we don't spend a lot, but we have to come and hustle back so that we recover the one that we spend.
For many, the holiday was a welcome break as they made the most of it in celebrating.
After the fair, we don't go for shopping, we don't buy something, we don't go market center, we don't start them very well. We don't have about that.
Yesterday I go ShopRite, I go market store, I go shopping center, I go buy something I go chop and something I go wear for my body.
So say problem they finish in the life. So I'm so happy, and it's so many things that is move for me and their life.
It is, however, a different stroke for some folks who are not able to celebrate like others due to economic constraints.
I don't go anywhere, I just go play, come back and stay for myself. Based on when you get money, I am going to go there now.
However, some believe that there are those who ordinarily claim to be financially disadvantaged but will spend what they have to celebrate the Eid.
You don't know till you find them there now. They hide their money, but when the occasion comes now, they will spend it.
Others say some people are not able to celebrate due to the responsibilities they carry.
I'm a young boy, I know how everything is going. I just do it because this is just coming for me, then I cannot push it away, you understand me? So I just use my morale and try my best.
With the Ramadan season and the public holiday over, it is back to work as business and official activities of not just Muslims are expected to resume normally by Wednesday. In Umuahia for News Central, Chinwe Ugeli.
As Muslim faithfuls across the globe celebrate Eid al-Fitr, the Nigerian army used the occasion to boost the morale of its troops stationed in the northeast, particularly those operated or engaged in operation in Hadin Kai. The 2025 Eid Salah luncheon held in Maiduguri, Borno State, provided a unique opportunity for senior military officers to interact with wounded soldiers and those on the front line, and also reaffirm their commitment to national security and the welfare of personnel. News Central's Umar Kirawa completes the report.
For these wounded soldiers, this was a moment to wine and dine with the top brass. The luncheon, which marks the conclusion of Ramadan, was attended by senior military officers who expressed gratitude to the soldiers for their courageous work in combating insurgency and maintaining peace in the northeastern region.
As we celebrate, we must remain mindful of our shared duty to uphold the peace, unity and sovereignty of our beloved country. Our commitment to these ideals reinforces the trust placed in us to safeguard our country's future. This aligns with the strategic objective of Mr. President, which prioritizes national security and sustainable development.
The senior military officers highlighted the importance of Operation Hadinkai in restoring peace to the region, stressing that the army will continue to work towards eliminating insurgent threats.
Without mincing words, I bold to say that this occasion will leave an indelible mark in the hearts of our troops as we fight to completely decimate the remnants of the terrorists within our territory.
If not with resilience, we would have been where we are today. People celebrated Maiduguri throughout. People are celebrating Mungunu. Name the most terrible areas here today, people are celebrating. It's because God in His infinite mercy has given us the upper hand to deal with this threat. All we need from the society is that cooperation.
The Army's leadership emphasized that the welfare of troops remains a priority as they carry out their critical mission in ensuring Nigeria's security.
We remain resilient to ensure that things come back to normal, but we need that cooperation from the general society. The communities generally must have that resilience to on their own resist any effort by the enemy to destabilize the country.
The journey to ending insurgency may yet not be over, but for the army, this was an opportunity to rededicate itself to achieving its objective. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Troops and personnel of 3 Division, Maxwell Kobe Cantonment and Operation Safe Haven have been commended for their doggedness in service and urged to uphold the virtues of unity, mutual respect and peaceful coexistence among themselves as they carry out their duty in service to their fatherland. This was the charge of Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, represented by Major General Obinna Ajunwa, Commander of Armor Corps, while performing the tradition of the Chief of Army Staff Eid al-Fitr luncheon with the troops in Plateau State. Our correspondent Chizoba Aniowe was there for News Central and now reports.
The Nigerian Army set aside this day to celebrate these troops for their bravery, doggedness, and gallantry in service to the nation. This fete was to spur them in their selfless service to Nigeria. Motivating and encouraging them to put in more effort to stamp out the myriad of insurgencies in some parts of the country, the Chief of Army Staff reiterated his resolve in improving their welfare.
Their sacrifices have ensured the security and stability of our country, demonstrating their resilience, courage, and professionalism while discharging their responsibilities. In keeping with the tenets of my common philosophy, I remain committed to strengthening the operational capacity, welfare, and combat readiness of our troops. This underscores the vital role of discipline, professionalism, and interagency collaboration, all of which are crucial in tackling the contemporary security challenges confronting our nation.
While many celebrate the Eid with family and loved ones, these soldiers remain undaunted, dedicated, and selfless in service. It is on this premise that the General Officer Commanding 3 Division and Commander of Operation Safe Haven salutes their unwavering commitment to duty.
I must take this moment to commend the gallant officers and soldiers, as well as personnel of 3 Division and Operation Safe Haven, as well as all security agencies in the platoon, for their unwavering dedication to duty. Your sacrifices in ensuring the security and safety of our citizens, often at great personal risk, do not go unnoticed. You have displayed courage, resilience, and professionalism in carrying out your responsibilities, and for that, I extend my deepest gratitude.
Next, the crux of the event, the Chief of Army Staff, the GOC, and other senior officers of other sister security agencies in the state, both serving and retired, performed the tradition of serving the troops and personnel at the luncheon.
Now, if this is a show of motivation and support for these troops and officers of the Nigerian Army in 3 Division and Operation Safe Haven, it means that more will be expected of them in defense of the fatherland. In Plateau State for News Central, Chizoba Anyoe.
Every year, the Muslim community in Katsina comes alive with joy and festivity as they celebrate Eid al-Adha, also known as the Lesser Eid. This year, there has been no different as families gather to share the joy of the occasion.
The streets of Katsina are bustling with people making their way to the Daba celebration, and there's a palpable feeling of excitement. Clad in colorful traditional outfits, parading through the streets on elegantly adorned horses, showcasing a centuries-old tradition that highlights the rich cultural history of Katsina State. Accompanying the equestrian display, we have the traditional drummers, popularly known as the Asharalle. Their rhythmic drumming fills the air, creating an infectious beat that gets everyone moving.
rana babbar rana ce ga al'ummar jihar Katsina saboda rana ce wanda muke tuna bikin sallah karama a duk shekara.
The Asharalle are the heartbeat of these festivities, invigorating the crowd with their lively tunes. The atmosphere here in Katsina is truly vibrant as the community comes together to celebrate. You can feel a sense of joy and unity in the air, with families dressed in their best traditional attire, exchanging greetings and well wishes. Today, the streets of Katsina are filled with laughter, music, and happiness. In Katsina, for News Central, Rukaiya Jibia.
Away from the summer celebrations, the Edo State Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal will deliver its judgment on Wednesday, April the 2nd, in the petition filed by the People's Democratic Party and its candidate Asue Ighodalo. The tribunal is set to rule on 3 petitions filed by the PDP challenging the declaration of Monday Okpebholo of the All Progressives Congress APC as the winner of the election by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Okpebholo had secured a total of 291,667 votes, defeating his closest rival Ighodalo of the PDP with almost 50,000 votes. The petitioners are contesting the validity of the election results declared, citing alleged non-compliance with the provisions of the 2022 Electoral Act as amended. But a curious twist to the saga has been the circulating document purporting to be judgment of the court scheduled to be delivered on Wednesday. Joining us now is Joshua Imarayi. He joins us live from Abuja. Joshua, the document that is flying everywhere, but is it that there's a document that seems to be flying everywhere and is circulating on social media? What do we know about its authenticity?
Well, you can imagine the shock of Nigerians when they saw that particular document gaining around on social media, particularly on some specific websites. And Nigerians are taken aback, but only way we can confirm that document is authentic is when during the tribunal ruling tomorrow, when the Justice Winifred Buchik, then three-man panel of the tribunal reads that same document to us as his ruling, then that only can be confirmed that that particular document is authentic. But now we are seeing that document that just mere rumors and fake news gaining the ground, but only when Justice Winfred Kuti reads that particular document tomorrow, then we can confirm that that particular document is authentic. But notwithstanding, that particular document is gaining the rounds in several WhatsApp groups, one of which the Nigerian Bar Association, they are reacting to that particular document. My source, who has pleaded anonymity, told me that that document started gaining the rounds since yesterday night. That means before that document hits the internet this morning, some members of the NPA saw that particular document, and this raises so many questions to the legalities and the illegalities as to who we should hear these things from and to who we should take this document as authentic from. So, pending tomorrow, we are expecting to see what the Justice Winfred Kuti in the panel say concerning that particular document, if it is true. But if it is true, and if that particular document is authentic, then some people need to answer certain questions as regards that particular document.
All right. At this point, only time will tell, and that time is tomorrow when judgment is delivered in court. Joshua, many thanks for doing this with us. Joshua Imarayi, our correspondent live from Abuja, giving us a bit of insight on whether or not the document circulating on social media is authentic. Let's go on a short break, shall we? When we return, there's more news, and this time it will be out of Nigeria. But after the break, stay with us. And you're welcome back. Nigerians joined the rest of the world on April 1st to commemorate April Fool's Day, a light-hearted tradition of playing harmless pranks on friends, family, and colleagues. In this special report, News Central's correspondent Asue explores the ways Nigerians observe this day, the creativity and humor involved, and the importance of respecting boundaries. Take a look.
Suggests that April Fool's Day received its name from the custom of playing practical jokes on people on the first day in April. In Nigeria, many people embraced the day with enthusiasm, using the opportunity to showcase their creativity and sense of humor. But how much do residents of Asaba, Delta State capital, know about April Fool's Day and how the game is being played?
I'm aware today in April Fool.
I was not aware of hardship of this country, but first day, all your mind and hustling, you know. How you go to survive? So our mind, you don't say that before. When April Fool don't reach like this, before that day, everybody don't they talk and they don't they prepare to do person April Fool. But now country don't change now. You wake up in the morning, you focus on your hustling. How you go to hustle? Nobody to think all those things again.
Some respondents shared their April Fool's Day experiences.
In fact, I've not been pranked before, apart from the one they do me this morning where my BP nearly rise. They just called me that we had made a foundation inside Warri, Ighodalo Axis, under the PA land. So government don't come this morning. So they don't carry a plaque they demolish the place. I say, that can happen. Well, they don't go on nothing. Why that can happen? I say, my brother, they don't call me. Why? I say, my baby don't even go high. I say, make correct. They say, no, it's not April Fool. Now my man come down. For not even rush me God, I say, if not be God.
That one, they go come and my mama say, his sister they die. Me rock off village, mama call the bath. All of us, come gather all of us. Say, make we go village, Only for us to they go for road, now they call us say na April Fool. See, that thing it cause problem for my house.
While April Fool's Day is a time for humor and laughter, some respondents maintained that it's essential to remember to be respectful and consider others' feelings, especially considering the current economic realities in Nigeria.
Because one, me and you know that the country is not in a stable state. Everybody has BP in this country now. So there is some prank you will do that will lead someone to death, or they will lead that person to a coma.
April Fool is not as usual. Because if you tell somebody April Fool now, the person may be annoyed and will take it to change it for you. At the end of the day, it becomes trouble. So I think we should just avoid it this time around.
Experts have said the pranks only run from morning to 12 noon on April Fool's Day and urged Nigerians to be mindful of their actions and ensure that their pranks do not cause unnecessary stress or anxiety. In Asaba for News Central, Austin Asue.
And now to South Africa. The African National Congress, ANC, has issued a stark warning saying the collapse of budget talks could lead to a reshuffling of the government national unity. Fikile Mbalula, the ANC's Secretary General, addressed the media earlier today, stressing the party's commitment to the unity government, but also acknowledged that internal squabbles may force a reassessment of the government's structure. Mbalula also emphasized the ANC's dedication to maintaining the government of national unity. However, he cautioned that if political point scoring continues, they may be forced to reconsider its configuration. The ANC has been in discussions with a range of political parties, both within and outside the unity government, in an attempt to secure backing for the budget. The parties are expected to meet on Wednesday to finalize their discussions and vote on the budget. And welcome back. The former Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull has humorously mimicked Donald Trump during a speech on Tuesday, urging candidates in the upcoming May 3rd general election to stand firm against U.S. influence. Turnbull, who led Australia when Trump took office in 2017, adopted a comedic American accent to capture Trump's distinctive manner. He advised politicians not to be intimidated by potential criticism from the U.S. president. His remarks sought to encourage resilience and boldness among Australian election candidates, stressing that standing up for national interests is key to successful leadership. Earlier this year, Turnbull criticized Trump's return to office, calling it chaotic and erratic. Trump, in turn, criticized Turnbull as ineffective and weak, referring to his handling of China. The two leaders' relationship has always been strained. As the first quarter of 2025 comes to a close, Nigeria's equities market has shown a mixed performance characterized by shifts in investor sentiment. Following a robust February that recorded a month-to-date return of 3.2%, that's plus 3.2%, and a year-to-date increase of plus 4.8%, the market took a downturn in March, finishing the month down by 1.99%. Nevertheless, the year-to-date return remains positive at plus 2.67%, indicating some resilience despite weaknesses in certain sectors. Chinazo Izora, who's a senior investment broker at Partian Securities, remarked that the market activities this year reflect a trend of correction compared to last year's performance, suggesting anticipated adjustments in trading behavior as discussed on News Central's Business Edge.
Traders are going to take profit on their positions once those securities reach a certain level. In addition to that, we also expected to see a pullback in the banking sector in light of the recapitalization. From the beginning of this year, we started hearing news of allotment and listing of those public and primary offer rights issue shares. You can imagine that a lot of those companies are significantly higher than their public offer or rights price. So it's expected that the investors that are getting credited with those units are going to want to take profit. So we've seen that especially in the banking sector.
Akwa Ibom officials, led by Sports Commissioner Paul Bassi, have conducted final inspection of venues ahead of the Niger Delta Sports Festival opening. Bassi, during the inspection, expressed satisfaction with preparations, confirming the state's readiness. Key venues inspected included the Olympic-sized swimming pool at Uyo Township Stadium, basketball, volleyball, handball, and tennis facilities. Security has been heightened with police, civil defense, and state security operatives deployed across 6 venues. The festival, running from the 1st to the 8th of April, will host 3,000 athletes, 800 coaches, and 17 sporting events. The Niger Delta Sports Festival will be officially opened by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the 2nd of April at Uyo Township Stadium. Mamelodi Sundowns secured a crucial 1-0 victory over Esperance de Tunis in their CAF Champions League quarter-final first leg clash at the Luftos Varfield Stadium. The 54th minute strike by Peter Shulule, following a well-placed assist from Jaden Adams, gave the Brazilians the advantage ahead of next week's return leg in Tunisia. The first half was tightly contested, with both teams struggling to create clear chances. Sundowns grew into the game after halftime, capitalizing on a defensive lapse to break the deadlock. As tensions flared in the latter stages, Sundowns disrupted Esperanza's rhythm and saw out the win. The decisive second leg is set for the 8th of April at the Hamadi Agribi Stadium, where Sundowns will look to seal their place in the semi-finals. And that's all we can take at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Protests have erupted in Otukpo, Benue State over incessant killings and kidnappings by suspected cattle herders. Senator Natasha has arrived in her Kogi Central constituents to a heroine's welcome by thousands of constituents for the Salah. And lastly, we went to South Africa, where we told you that the country's coalition government of national unity is facing imminent collapse following the ANC's threat amid budget talks. Now, do remember that you can send us your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing on the screen. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on social media. We're at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274. We're also on GoTV channel 23. Find us on Avo TV and stream us live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Judith TV. Bye for now.